Santham Academy. Welcome to Digital Kaksha. To get updates on new videos, click the subscribe button and the bell icon.
Now, let us turn our area of attention, our area of study towards the north of India. Nepal. Nepal, a landlocked country. Nepal, a Himalayan nation. Nepal was a Hindu kingdom in the past. It was a kingdom, a monarchical rule was there, but later on it changed into a constitutional monarchy for many years. In the wake of a strong pro-democratic movement, there was a strong movement by the people to restore full-fledged democracy in the country. That movement lasted for a long years, and ultimately the king had to accept the demands of the people, and he agreed that a democratic government would be set up in Nepal. In 1990, such demand was fulfilled. There was a conflict in this government also among the Maoist and the monarchist on one side and the Democrats on the other side. It was a triangular conflict in the country. The Democrats, they had their own demands. The pro-monarchical people, they had their own demands, and the Maoist people, who are the rebellion in the country, they have their own demands. This triangular conflict led to the abolition of the parliament, and also it led to the dismissal of the government in the year 2002 by the king. So now again a monarchical rule is there in the country. So when the government was dismissed and the parliament was also dissolved, another round of protest, another round of movement started. So again in 2006, after a pro-democratic movement was there in the country, the king was forced to restore the House of Representatives. That means he was forced to again establish a democratic form of government. So whatever were the public representatives were again given power, and the assembly was given recognition by the king. Since then the country is working on the new constitution, which would give powers to the elected representatives and powers to the parliament. And most recent news, that is after what our text has been prepared, after that it is the current condition of the country that they have set up their democratic rule with a full-fledged constitution. They have adopted and enacted the constitution of Nepal, and now they are working with the efforts and with the guidance of the government of India. They are successful in implementing their constitution and firmly establishing a democratic form of government in their country. Welcome back, students. We are studying our neighboring countries one by one. Up till now, we have studied our western neighbor, that is Pakistan. We have studied our eastern neighbor, that is Bangladesh. We have studied one of our northern neighbor, that is Nepal. Now let us study one of our southern neighbor, that is Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka had a democratic setup, and the democratic setup of Sri Lanka was disturbed by the ethnic conflict among two communities of the nation, that is the Sinhala community and the Tamil community in the country. Tamils were of two groups. There was one group of Tamils who were the native Tamils of Sri Lanka, and another group of Tamils who went from India during the British rule as plantation workers, and they remained there, settled there in that country. But today the Sinhalese people, they regard this country as their own. According to the Sinhalese, the region of Ceylon, Ceylon is the name of Sri Lanka itself. It is called as Ceylon also. It had been called as Ceylon in the past. So according to the Sinhalese, the region of Ceylon belongs to the Sinhala community only, and no outsider or no other community has the right to live in the country or have power in the country. This domination of the Sinhala community in the government, in the administration and in the whole country led to the formation of one militant organization in Sri Lanka that is known as Litte. That is the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam. It is a militant organization who demanded a separate country for the Tamils. So there was a separatist tendency among the Tamil speaking communities in Sri Lanka. The government of India was also pressurized by the Tamils of India, the Indian Tamils who are living in Tamil Nadu region and other regions of South India. They were pressurizing the government of India to protect the interest of the Tamil community living in Sri Lanka, because they had relations with those Tamils of Sri Lanka. Most of them were their relatives also, friendly relation, and being the people of the same community, they had sympathy over the Tamils living in Sri Lanka. India had already signed an accord with Sri Lanka for the protection and cooperation in both the countries with each other. So under this accord, they sent the troops to stabilize the relationship between Sri Lankan Tamils and the government of Sri Lanka. So in extending an helping hand towards Sri Lanka, the government of India has sent some army troops to Sri Lanka. Eventually, the army got itself involved in the fighting with the LTT. There was negotiations failed and there was a conflict between the LTT and the Indian army. So Indian army also got into conflict with the LTTE. Later on, the Indian Peacekeeping Forces, IPKF as it is called as, Indian Peacekeeping Forces was pulled out of Sri Lanka in 1989 without any achieving its aims. The aim was to establish a negotiation between the Tamils of Sri Lanka, the Litte, and the government of Sri Lanka. But no such negotiations could be worked out and the army was withdrawn from Sri Lanka. Presently, the Litte has been destroyed. That is, the militant organization Liberation of Tamil Tigers Eelam has been destroyed, and the Sri Lankan government has taken back the areas which was under the possession of Litte. So that was the political history of Sri Lanka. But despite all these ups and downs in the country, despite these ethnic conflicts in the country, the economy of Sri Lanka has always been very high. It has shown a very good human development index, it has shown very good literacy rate, it has shown a very good status of health conditions in the country. So it comes under one of the leading countries in terms of human development index, even beyond India. Welcome back, students. Let me summarize before leaving the chapter. What are the relations of India with the neighboring countries? We have studied the neighboring countries' politics in detail, one by one. Now let us summarize their relation with India. Neighboring countries of India are Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, Maldives and Pakistan. There are certain issues of conflict between India and Bangladesh. Such conflicts include sharing of Ganga river water and Brahmaputra river waters. Then there is another issue of illegal migration to India from Bangladesh, also from Sri Lanka many a times, also from Bhutan some of the times. There are certain issues of conflict between India and Bangladesh. In the same way, still both India and Bangladesh share a cordial relation with each other. We have good relations with economic terms, that means economic relations between the two countries, they have improved considerably in recent times. Nepal and India also shares a friendly relation with each other. But certain issues like their warm relation with Nepal is a matter of concern for India. Then their warm relation with China is also a matter of concern for India. The Maoist movement in Nepal, that also disturbed the relation between the two countries, because this Maoist movement is also a movement which troubles India in the internal matters also many times. Despite differences, trade, scientific cooperation, electricity generation, interlocking of the rivers, management grids of these rivers, holding the two countries together continuously. That is also worth mentioning, that we have certain things which tie both of these countries together. India enjoys a very special relationship with Bhutan. Bhutan does not have any major conflict with India. We don't have any major conflict with the Bhutanese government also. So in a way, we are having good relations with Bhutan. Small matters sometimes comes in, but we resolve with talks very easily. Bhutan is also supported in controlling the Naxalite activities in the southeast region of India. That is also worth mentioning. So that is the summary of our relation with our neighboring countries. Let us move ahead with another topic to summarize and to end the chapter. Let us conclude the chapter with the issue of peace and cooperation. Peace and cooperation, that is the most important aspect of consideration before the world countries in the international politics. Even though there are certain issues of conflict among the South Asian countries, they recognize the importance of cooperation. They recognize the importance of friendly relation among themselves. The South Asian countries, they have initiated the establishment of South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation. The South Asian Association of Regional Cooperation, also known as SAARC. It was established in 1985 to evolve cooperation among the Asian countries, among each other. The SAFTA, that is South Asian Free Trade Agreements or South Asian Free Trade Area, that was signed in the year 2004 by the South Asian countries. This was meant to allow free trade across the borders of these countries. SAFTA aims at lowering the trade barriers, lowering the tariff by 20% by the year 2017. That means it was an objective that by 2017 we will reduce our tariff, our taxes on the imports and exports to as low as 20%. Although there has been issues between India and Pakistan, measures were being taken to bring cordial changes between the countries. Such measures have been taken from time to time. There is also an outside power which influences the region, China and the United States. They remain the key players in the South Asian politics. China is emerging as a very big economy. It is emerging as a very powerful country. It is emerging as a military power also. So it is a very big competitor in front of India also. Okay. And there is a strong interference in the world market of USA, and in that sequence it has an interference and direct bearing on the Asian market also. So United States of America, that is also a big challenge for India to acquire the market and to politically dominate in our country in recent times. After the Cold War, it has emerged as a very big market player also and very big player in the politics of Asia also. So that is the end of the chapter. I hope you enjoyed the chapter. I hope you are enjoying the online learning classes. We will be supporting you with some additional tools besides this online classes, besides this video lectures. We will be sending you the PDF of different chapters. We will provide you the notes of different chapters in the form of PDF. We will give you some solved answers to support your learning, and we will give you sufficient exercise, that is the unsolved questions, as an assignment, so that it can be used for your internal assessment and it can enhance your learning and make you well equipped to face the board examinations. Wish you all the best. Wish you a happy online learning experience. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like, share and subscribe for more.